Hey fellas, the other day I was talking to a friend about Stanley Kubrick's A Clockwork Orange. I'm an avid fan of the film, it being my favourite Kubrick joint. I've never heard a Kubrick film being referred to like that before, but she told me that she found it offensive, claiming that
What film?
by its Clockwork Orange.
Okay.
Claiming that by depicting graphic sequences of SA and violence, it was sensationalizing and trivializing said horrid actions and behaviors. Of course, the film is a satire and makes no claim for its graphic scenes, nor against it. Therein lies much of the controversy for the film. By not coding such behavior as clearly bad, I think it leads many to misunderstand the intended purpose of depicting such scenes. My question is, what do you think about A Clockwork Orange's depiction of SA? And to follow up, how do you think such topics should be depicted, and what are examples of, dare I say, good examples of these things in other films? So I feel like I mentioned this a few episodes ago or in the previous months. There's just more and more discourse, I feel like, around like sex scenes and considering them irrelevant or unnecessary. Unnecessary being a big one. There was a little bit of a popular unnecessary sex scenes in films thread I saw going around on Twitter the other week that had, I don't know, it had like 50,000 likes, and it was starting the thread with that scene from Oppenheimer. Where,
That's an engagement farming Twitter account. I've seen that. Literally every single one of their tweets is like, name this, I'll start. I don't even think it's a real opinion.
Most of Twitter is that now, to be fair.
Oh yeah, that's literally most of Twitter. You're absolutely right.
But I don't know, there's just something weird about that, because there does seem to be more and more of a push, or at least discussion, about this idea of it being unnecessary or somehow something we shouldn't include in stories, despite sexuality being so important and crucial to society, to human storytelling. So that's kind of my stance on that. Like, if these things are real, and it's more just the tact of how you approach them. Like we were just saying, the commentary in Black Christmas 2019 and what it's trying to deal with is not subtle, and it falls on its face, and it's a horrible example of dealing with that kind of subject matter. But an equally like unsubtle broaching of the same subject matter is something like The Boys, but they pull it off because it's framed in kind of a fun or interesting or kind of crazy gonzo way. So yeah, I have no problem with like sex scenes or more like violence being depicted, as long as it's justified and you have something to say and you're trying to make some kind of artistic statement or piece with it. These things are, it's a part of humanity, and if we're being real with each other, yeah, we're, stuff like This Is England show like that happens, and it would be crazy to me to not have this stuff in stories, but you do need a delicate touch, that's for sure.
So yeah, the conversation is I think more trying to get at the tone in which some of these horrid, horrendous violent acts are being portrayed in. So like the music and like I feel pretty, like the excited nature that the film doesn't explicitly just show you and being like, this is bad, and play like bad scary music and like this is a bad scary thing happening to these people. I love that it's juxtaposed. I love that we maybe perhaps feel the same excitement and insanity terribly from a moral perspective, but we can understand the characters a bit more. We understand that those psychopaths hurting those people feel that way when it's happening. And I love that it's removing us from the reality of that situation. It almost makes it more scary thinking about how much joy that person would be experiencing as they're doing this terrible thing to you. So if, let's say, you're attaching yourselves onto the victims in the scene in Clockwork Orange, I think it's way more fucked up that there's not a shred of remorse, that there's not a shred of like, thinking about it being morally bad from those characters, that they're just having fun. They're not going to stop. It doesn't matter how much pain you're in. It doesn't matter how terrible this is. It doesn't matter how fucked up it is. I think that works for the film a lot better. there's tons of examples of films where people can take away the wrong interpretation, right? Wolf of Wall Street, right? Any Scorsese movie, right? Is it cool that they're doing the thing, or is it bad that they're doing the thing? American Psycho, yeah. I do really love films that aren't afraid to be morally ambiguous. I do really love films that aren't afraid to even make you feel like fun or excitement over like something horrific happening, because I don't know, maybe my brain's a little bit different. I'm maybe a bit more able to distinguish fiction from reality than some people. But this goes into the same conversation as like violent video games. I'm sorry, it's fun to shoot people in the head in a video game. It's not fun to do it in real life. Yeah. Well, maybe it is fun to do it in real life. I don't know. I don't feel compelled to try it. But like, you know, even just like ignoring the violence, just moral choices in general. I play as a renegade in Mass Effect. I think it's more interesting. I think it's more fun. It's called role play, right? It's not me in real life. I'm exploring a character, right? In that same sense, films can explore characters, and you can experience emotions of that character through the film. And if the film does a great job at doing that, maybe, I don't know, perhaps there's some people on the planet that are really fucked up and they might see it as jerk-off material. Can't really stop that either way. They might be imagining it otherwise. Let artists be what they want. Let them express things how they want. And if it's really well made, and we don't want to have a morality police trying to enforce the intended emotion of a scene, right? Is Full Metal Jacket a war film or an anti-war film? Sometimes people get confused. It's really up to the interpretation, and it's another conversation, I guess, about media literacy, and also just, I don't know, assuming ignorance over malice at the very least.
Yeah, it does feel like a lot of people just, the second they get uncomfortable, they just like want to try and hide it or something. Or
I love being uncomfortable.
Act like other, but yeah, that's why I love horror. That's why I love thrillers. That's why I love stories. It is a role play of the mind. Man, let's just take a step back and improve our media. Let's just see a little bit. That'd be great.